and then I'm bringing us onto Facebook. I put these up also I got a YouTube page where I put a bunch of these these 10-minute videos and like improv type stuff. So I'll put it up there as well, but it'll live on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube. So I think
Awesome.
dude, I think I'm going to continue to do virtual performing and teaching. I don't know if I'm going to go back to live. I think there's too many
Yeah.
people that we can reach that we couldn't have before. So I'm really, honestly, I'm really digging it. So I think it's here to stay. I think we're going to continue to do it, but it's
I
so
think
much
so too.
more, it's more convenient now, you know?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's like, I feel like it's like like that sort of separation in terms of like what works best online and what works best. I feel like that'll become clearer and clearer as we go. But yeah, like I know that like my indie team, like even our least watched online shows, we still at least double the biggest audience we ever had live, right? Because
Is that
you know, 'cause
crazy?
the ask is so much smaller for the audience, right? You're not
Oh,
like, oh, drive to Hollywood and park and pay for 2 drinks that you don't want and then sit and watch my show that may or may not be good, right? It's like, it's a giant ask.
and then, oh, there's also sometimes other groups and you're like, I'm pretty fairly confident in my group.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
other groups, I have no idea what's going to happen. And so by the end of the night, it's like a 3-hour ordeal versus like, oh, come watch a 30, 45-minute show. You know when it starts, you know when it ends.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
do. I almost feel like in-person performances almost feel they always kind of felt like they were more for us than anyone else anyway. But now I feel like they'll just be like these midnight secret ceremonies.
all
where
right,
we
dude, meet me at the North Hollywood Red Line.
yeah,
We're
yeah, yeah.
gonna set there.
I'm covered in duck blood. You know? Yeah.
Uh, Pick a number between 1 and 31.
26.
Oh, yeah. 31, 30, 20, 27, 26. Okay, so this comes from Neal, and
Neal.
the suggestion is beards, exclamation point.
Beards.
Beards with an exclamation point. All right, thanks, Neal.
Uh,
Yeah,
Timothy,
yeah.
I've come to a decision.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna shave my beard.
Wait. When you started talking, I was like, I hope to God it's not about the beard. And then you said you're going to shave it?
I I just I can't let it go. I was walking on the pier yesterday and I saw a man with a goatee and I said to myself, that's a brave direction he's going in.
Well, fuck, dude, let's shave it.
You're with me on this?
100%. I'm like, what? Yeah, did you think I was going to say no?
Well, it's just because I feel like our beards exclamation point brand is kind of based on our facial hair. I mean, there's obviously the storefront, there's the merch that we've already put lots of money down
You're
on it.
literally the face of the product. You're literally the face of it. Like it's your face on the product for sure. But it's your face.
I feel like I've been hiding all these years.
Dude, shave it. No, shave. I'm gonna get a razor. I'm gonna get a razor and we're gonna shave it right now. We're gonna shave it right now. We're not gonna wait. David, we're not gonna wait.
Timothy,
David,
hand me the razor.
take it. Shave it. Did you want? I feel like you want to say something before you shave it. I feel like you want to like do an homage.
You know,
It's been with you for a while.
it's been 15 years.
Hey,
You know what? How about this? How about I'll say some of my feelings and memories about my beard, and if it's not too intimate for you, I'd love it if you'd say a little something as well.
I'd love to. Do you want me to kick it off or do you want to kick? I feel like I should kick it off and you say, but which do you want? It's your beard ceremony.
You know, I've always trusted your judgment. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Well, I actually wrote some stuff down in case this day would ever happen. And so,
You
yeah,
always knew.
I knew it was going to happen. And so I wrote it down because when the day came, I didn't want to flub my words. So, David, a lot of people say that what's inside a person is what counts the most. I agree with that. I also agree that what's on a person counts as much.
Ugh.
Your beard has grown much like our friendship has grown. We've gone from being business partners to life partners to friends. I feel like whenever I needed something, you were there for me, including when I was scared, and I could hide behind you and your strength. You are my beard. It doesn't matter if you shave your beard, it will always be there, much like you will always be there for me. Although the time is somewhat bittersweet, I also want to reflect back on the moments we had together. So here's to Beard. We're glad for the time you spent with us. You did us very proud. It's time to let go. All my love,
Wow.
Timothy.
Well, that's unbelievably touching. I I feel so supported.
Really?
When I saw the man with the goatee on the pier, he stuck in my head, and I was beset by fever dreams all last night. I tossed and turned.
Oh my
I
God.
sat up in bed and I scrawled some words on my notepad late last night as well. I don't know if they're coherent, but they just feel like something that I had to communicate.
Yeah, yeah.
Up and down around my neck, curly, clenched throat, dying, hiding. Who am I? Am I a man? What is a man if not his beard, if not his curling facial hair, shouting, tall authority, stamp? And yet, I search for something inside, something deep, something soft, something feminine, something that looks ahead and can look back and support me. And of course, Timothy. Dear Timothy, how can I leave him behind? How can I extend my life into the realm of the hairless and leave him there, him who has been by my side always? What must I do? I cannot stay, and yet I must leave. You know, when I wrote those words, I'm ashamed to say that I didn't imagine that you would be willing to take this journey with me.
Those are very coherent words, and I can't see not taking the journey with you. It's not the beard that makes you, it's the you that makes you. And it seems like it's time for a fresh start. You said it was choking. Well,
I mean, it was there for me when we applied for our first business loan and were turned down.
yeah.
I hid my rage beneath my beard.
I hid my rage in a bottle I drank for a long time. The beard is healthier. I've got to say, but I'm over that now. But yeah, but then it gave us confidence in a strange way that we never felt before. And so maybe it's that does not serve. Maybe it's done its time.
You know, I hope that I can be as much of a support to you one day as you've been to me.
You are. You are. You've already achieved it. You are that support. shave that beard. Shave that beard.
Well, while I shave, would you would you would you sing me a little song? Just a little one, just to calm my fears as I go.
Yeah. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring. And if that diamond ring looks like a nerd, Mama's gonna put it with a bird. Here's my story, haven't you heard? Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird.
Timothy, I'm gonna go all the way. I'm going past the goatee. I'm taking it all off.
Take it, take it off.
I'm taking it all off.
It looks like it's very cathartic for you, David.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You're.
Who am I? Who am I? Who am I, Timothy?
You're David Coughlin. Maybe you're free now to be who you are at this next stage in your life.
It's just, I feel like I'm standing at the edge of a cliff face looking out over the ocean.
Yeah. It's the unknown, right?
It's all there is.
We're not promised anything.
Nothing at all.
Now all you have to think about is what's the next thing? What's the immediate next thing you want to do? That's all you got to think about.
I feel like I've walked into a room full of painting and sculpture and art and all this, and I don't even know where to begin.
Take that one step, I guess.
Maybe I'll change my wardrobe too.
Cut that shirt. Cut that shirt. Cut. Scene. Oh, Roberto, my God, so fun, dude. Did you grow your beard during the pandemic? Were you like, I'm gonna?
No. I think it was sort of coming in and out the year before the pandemic, but I'd always it takes a long time for me to grow a beard. And then obviously during the pandemic, all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, how did this happen? I think that happened to a lot of people. You know what I mean?
I would love to grow a beard. My skin is very sensitive, so whenever I do, I can't get past that initial phase of the scratch.
Yeah.
Real red and splotchy. So like for me, it's like, oh, I would love to do it. And I love Zoom because I can just do a virtual mustache.
Yeah. I think if I ran into you somewhere and you had a beard, I'd be like, it's Chaos Jay. You know what I mean? I'm like, are you here to take the real Jay into your hell dimension?
Yeah, that's right, dude. I'm living in a van. I gave up all my possessions. Good to see you.
That's a great neck tattoo you got, man. I didn't know you liked the Dodgers.
Yeah, dude. I'm just like, I like the design. I think the team's okay, but I really dig the design. So it's like, I want it to be known that this is my phase in my life where I'm really LA, baby.
I hear that, dude. I've never smoked salvia before, but I do with you, Chaos Jay.
Chaos Jay. That's awesome. What got you into improv? What made you decide to take that first class?
I think like I had seen shows here and there before, but it never occurred to me to do any of it. And then I was I had what do you call it? I was working like on film sets where I had stopped working on film sets, and I had a job like a straight up and down like copy editing job, and I felt creatively blocked in my
Oh,
writing. And I got a Groupon for a class at MI's West Side Comedy Theater, and I was like, oh, well, this seems crazy and kind of scary, and maybe it'll pop something loose. So I went over, and my first teacher was Gorbos, Chris Gorbos, and
wait,
our
he
first
taught
section.
level 1?
Yeah, he taught level 1. Taught level 1, and he like so many. I've said this before that like so many of the things that I believe as like foundational core concepts of my being are just things that my dad said and probably forgot about later.
Yes. Yes.
And so much of the way that I practice and talk about and teach and perform improv is based on stuff that happened in that first class. Like Gorbos is a hardcore side coacher. So I'm like, yep, that's the way. That's what I respond to, because that's the way he does his thing. You know what I mean? And I remember he said, he was the first person I heard say, oh, there's a bunch of different schools of improv and they all have their own school of thought and way. And I was like, what? I gotta go. And then I just went off to other theaters to like to experience all that other stuff. And then I ended up coming back to West Side and just kind of like going through all their stuff and staying there.
You came back home.
I did.
But he's one of the people, Gorbos, and I laughed when you said he's your level 1 teacher, because he doesn't seem to be the typical level 1 cuddly papa bear, mama bear teacher who's like,
Yep.
he's like,
Exactly.
to me, it's like he'd be a great later teacher, but to be a level 1 teacher, it's like phenomenal. And he's always been, the rising tide rises all. What's that phrase?
Rising tide. High tide raises all boats. But what I loved was like he had this great combination of like he was efficient, and to like for example, two people like they're arguing in a scene, and he'd be like, all right, hey, why don't we try this again? But you guys like each other. Okay, go. You know what I mean? It was very much like he was hitting all the basics, but he wasn't spending a lot of time like petting people's fur. He was like, all right, let's go to the next thing. And there was definitely a feeling of like, you're here to do a job, so do your job. And which is also kind of how I sort of feel about it too. It's like, we all know what we're here to do. Let's get on with it.
You and I co-taught a class at West Side, and it was very invaluable to me, because to have you there where after class I can be like, hey, what do you think of this? Or like, dude, I don't know what to do with this. Or even during class where you would offer sometimes even other perspectives on something. I thought it was like just a tremendous way for people to learn, to be like, what I say isn't always the right thing or even the way you should do it. And then to have you to be able to have sometimes, because it was a later level class, and then you would be working towards a show, and you'd be in a moment of like, we try something and sometimes it didn't work, or it did work, and some people weren't always on board. So then you were able to balance out and hear points of view and then address them in a way that it was like, it meant so much. Like that experience was great. So I loved having you. I was always trying to get you to co-teach with me. I'm like, man, just do it with me.
I learned a ton for that same reason too, because I felt like, because like I like in terms of how the different types of improv are connected and what they say for each other, and like I know you, because like your short form background influences so much of the way that you look at long form, and vice versa, and all this stuff. And so the idea that we were both in that class and we both had slightly differing perspectives, and then you could see the students there acting them out in real time. Like I came away with a lot from that, really.
Yeah, dude, that was it was a good class. I thought the show was great, and having that, I think it should almost be a requirement sometimes to be like, hey, get a co-teacher, get somebody in there who can bring another eye to the scene, who can help you, because as teachers, sometimes you're so afraid you don't have the answers, and it's okay to not have answers, but it's also okay to be like, hey man, what do you think of that? And then you would say something, it's like, perfect, I don't have to say anything else, that's exactly it. You put it in such a, when I watch you give feedback, it's such a concise way that it's like you are able to hear people and acknowledge what they have to say while still getting the note across, which is a very tricky thing to do, man.
And I think, I feel like a lot of the vibe at West Side was that sort of thing, where it was like, where most of the audience, I mean, most of the students are not, you know, like I'm a lifelong actor or whatever. Like, they're people who are interested, and you want to keep them interested. And so, how do you get the note across without being like, you're not cut out for this, get out of here? You know what I mean? It's not that kind of place. It's very much like, where are you now? What's your point of view? What's your thing? And how can I formulate the answer in a way that, you know? Funny thing, I'm in a similar situation now. I just started co-teaching a class for BATS Improv in the Bay Area.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the dynamic is similar. So the class is called yes and slash no thank you, and it's basically talking about how to handle difficult situations on stage,
cool.
in terms of, you know what I mean, in terms of like, you know, misogyny or like inappropriate sort of things, and how to receive offers and make them into something that serves you rather than constricts you. And
Put boundaries, how to put boundaries up in an improv scene.
right, and how and how, because, you know, it's like the discussion of boundaries is very important, but it's also, I think, often oversimplified, and there's so many different, you know, the dynamics of the team and the context also, right? And the reason why I was invited was specifically for that reason, like, oh, I know that that we have slightly differing viewpoints on some of these topics, and I want to be able to have a mix of those perspectives in class, you know what I mean? So I think that is a valuable kind of deal.
Oh, for sure, right? Because you notice there are some students receive the same information differently from whoever says it. It could be taught, because I feel like you and I and somebody like even like Chris Alvarado, who we joke we have such differing ways of delivering it. I think we all, and most improv teachers, try to get to the same place. It's a different route each time. And then
the fact that we can play together, I think, is evidence of that, right?
100%. Because you get up there and it's like, I don't know, let's have as much fun as we can here. And whatever tools you bring to the stage, cool. You like to play a game, you like to play a relationship. Okay, I'm going to play my thing. And the challenge is, how do we work that together? And I've rarely found it not workable. I'm always like, if you go in there with a willing spirit and you're like, all right, let's find a way to make this work together, and that your partner has that same idea, it's going to be fine. And if it's not fine, you're going to do another scene really quickly after that one.
And I also think too that that whole idea of like it being workable or not workable, I think a lot of times, at least I find that whether or not an offer is workable is usually something internal and emotional within me. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always a way to hit the ball back. You know what I mean? There's always. The question is like, are you gonna, you know, how are you? I think it's the same way with any conversation you would have with any person. Like, you can always finish the conversation. The question is, are you going to let your internal emotional state stop you from doing it or not?
Yeah. And sometimes you go, yep, I am. I'm going to let it stop me. And it's like, that's perfectly fine too, to be like, yep, absolutely. This is one of those situations where it is going to stop, but I think right. You're like, nope, this is
no, I believe I was first in line for this latte, ma'am, and I will not back off. I am sorry. Yeah.
And you're still doing, aren't you doing Wretched Hive still? The Star Wars inspired improv. Are you doing that?
I'm not doing Wretched Hive anymore. However, I did guest host for them last week. So we are like, you know, every so often I'll guest on their shows. Yeah.
I mean, it's great that it's like the opportunity is still there, and it comes down to, a lot of times with groups, it comes down to like scheduling, where it's like, I can't make that commitment to you. And sometimes with groups too, it's okay to be like, hey, it's time to go for me. Like, I'm okay moving on. I got other stuff I want to do. You all want to do this thing. That's cool. But it's not, you know, we take a lot of things real personally. It's like, no, sometimes it's better to move on rather than stick in. You're like, no, I got other stuff I want to do. So,
and also, same thing with any sort of, you know, if you are in a leadership position or a producing position or whatever, and you have a certain idea about what the group is and what it does, there's a sense in which you can keep the group frozen in time too. So a lot of times, it's like, oh, you have ideas about a direction you want to take it. Like, oh, that's probably the thing. It's been a couple of years. Yeah. Make of it what you want to make of it, you know?
If people want to reach out to you, like if they want to follow what you're doing or like bring you on as a teacher, because you're also a good coach, which is that's a whole nother conversation is teacher and coach, right? They're two different
Yeah.
ball games. But if they want to do that, like, or just follow things you're up to and shows and stuff, what's the best way they can do that?
So my Instagram account is my primary point of contact. So that's blah blah
Pop up
goals.
goals.
Yeah, at Instagram. And I'm on a show called Heartbeats, which is an improvised medical drama, kind of like Grey's Anatomy. And it's every Friday night at 8 p.m. Pacific on the Ripley Improv channel on Twitch. Ripley Improv, all one word, like Ripley and Aliens. Yeah.
Right, right, right.
So I'm on tonight's episode. So if you're watching, come on and watch.
Oh, dude, you're the best. I have some of the most fond memories of us just on the promenade after those classes, dude, just
Yeah.
having those conversations. And I was lucky enough, you and I did that. We did this role playing gig, which is always great, but it's always like anytime we do a gig, the feedback is always like, oh, Roberto's so great. Like, and it's a true testament. Even shows too. People are like, oh, he's so great. So I just enjoy the heck out of playing with you and just talking with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Jay. I'm honestly honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, I can't, whether it's another virtual scene or in person, brother, I can't wait to play with you. Have a great one. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Bye.